What's going on, everybody? I am back to break down this 5-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Kicking off the new year with an NBA DFS slate. Hope you all had a fantastic New Year's Eve night. Hope you're doing good today. And we're going to go ahead and break this one down, give you guys the top plays that you need to get into the green, winning you some money as always. Don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my lock of the night, my favorite play on the slate, favorite segment on the channel. Give me my lock of the night, the guy that grades out good for me on both websites, DraftKings and FanDuel. And lastly, if you are getting very serious about NBA DFS, I would highly recommend that you check out my KJK DFS NBA Premium package. That's going to be linked below in the description. Check it out. You get access to premium NBA projections, NBA data sheet, player stats, team stats, play contact stats, core plays, injury impact insights, etc. If you're not getting too serious, you're just playing more casually, having some fun, no worries, because I will have free content on the channel. I'll be live streaming tonight, an hour and a half before lock, 5:30 p.m. Eastern as well. And with that all out of the way, guys, let's go ahead and kick this thing off. As always, game-by-game breakdown. First game on the slate, we have San Antonio Spurs taking on the Detroit Pistons. This game, DeJounte Murray and Cade Cunningham both ruled out. Obviously, that's going to be a big deal for the rest of the rotation. For both these sides, should be a big bump up to a Derek White at 7K on DraftKings. We saw him only play 24 minutes last time. He had to leave the game midway with some blood issues, I believe. So I don't think that he's really going to be limited to 24 minutes. I expect him to be back in the mid-30s. Kind of got a little bit unlucky having to leave that game midway in this one, and then it kind of turned into a blowout as well. The final score wasn't too bad, but that game was a blowout for most of the game. So Derek White continues to be a fantastic play. I think Keldon Johnson is going to continue to get a big bump up in usage as well, and he's priced at a much friendlier price tag at a 5.9. Certainly think that he's worth taking some risks on in tournaments, and the same can be said for Jakob Poeltl, with there being no DeJounte Murray. All these guys are naturally just going to get a little bit of a bump up. I know Jakob Poeltl is not directly correlated with DeJounte Murray because he's not the point guard position. He doesn't exactly get any more on-ball handling responsibilities or anything along those lines, but should get more shot volume. And the bottom line is his price tag is pretty friendly for the upside that he can supply you in your tournament lineup. So I certainly think that he is worth exploring. The Detroit side becomes much more interesting because they're dealing with a lot of injuries. So there is no Kelly Olynyk, there is no Corey Joseph, there is no Frank Jackson, there is no Trey Lyles, Isaiah Stewart, Savion Lee, Josh Jackson, Killian Hayes. So for that reason, when you're looking at this roster and really breaking it down as far as who they have left here, not a whole lot. You're looking at Derek Walton, Cassius Stanley, Diallo, Sadiq Bey, Luka Garza, Shaq Diallo, Justin Robinson, all these guys coming off the Detroit bench. And we'll dig into it a little bit more on the live stream, but just taking a first look right now as far as how these guys produce on a permanent basis with the bodies that they do have left. We can see Cassius Stanley so far producing at about 0.69 DK points per minute over a 46-minute sample size at the minimum salary starting, especially if he starts. I think he's going to be a phenomenal value play. The same can be said for Chuck Diallo. He's only 3.2, 0.92 DK points per minute over a 30-minute sample size. We've seen him play in the league before in many years past. We've been playing NBA DFS for seasons now. He is a very good fantasy point producer and is very cheap, so I'd certainly have interest in him. Luka Garza at 4.3, continuing at the start, 0.87 DK points per minute. Really good fantasy point producer, and he shot really bad last time out, and he was still able to get you there at his respective price tag right now. At 4.3, he's gotten a slight bump up from 3.5. He only put up 22 DraftKings points last time out, but he played 39 minutes, and he shot 1 for 10 from the field. So I tend to think he could shoot a little bit better this time around, still pay off this price tag. He's still a very friendly tournament option for me tonight. And, of course, I mean, the man candidates right now for usage are going to be Sadiq Bey and Hamidou Diallo, both producing at about 0.9 DK points per minute. A little bit over, a little bit under. Both going to be fantastic plays on this slate tonight. And both guys that I would certainly be willing to get lots of exposure to. Although the price tags have adjusted, the bottom line is all the usage is going to be flowing through these guys. And in the upper 7K range and in the lower 8K range, they should still have plenty of upside to really get you there at their respective price tags. So, yeah, going to be loading up on a bunch of Detroit guys. I think there's a bunch of different value pieces that you can be fitting in to fit up some studs on this slate that we'll talk about as we go along here. And certainly feeling very good about that. Chicago taking on Washington, the next game on the slate. The only other thing we didn't mention in that game is it does have a 224 over-under, which is a pretty fast up-paced game as well. So that's bodes definitely very well for both sides. So certainly like that. This game comes in with a 218 over-under with a 2-point spread in favor of the Chicago Bulls. So expected to stay close. Not exactly the fastest pace game in the world, but is expected to stay close. Lonzo Ball continues to be out. Spencer Dinwiddie continues to be out. Alex Caruso continues to be out. Montrezl Harrell continues to be out. So there's going to be quite a few bumps to go around for both sides here. The first that we got to start with is Daniel Gafford. He continues to be too underpriced, in my opinion, for his upside. He's playing mid-30s minutes. Does produce at a very high rate on a per DK point per minute basis. He is 5'6". He's put up 36, 35 DraftKings points the last 2 times out. And in both of those games, he's had a little bit of hiccups. The first game, he was in some foul trouble, I believe. I'm trying to find the fouls right here on my sheet. Oh, no, he wasn't actually. Okay, so he played 36 minutes. And he shot very well, 7 for 7 from the field, put up 36 DraftKings points. Last time out, I know he got removed halfway through the game because he was dealing with some injury concerns. That bumped him down to about 32 minutes, so I think he should get back up in the mid-30s, more towards the 35-minute mark. And when he has done so, he's easily put up mid-30s to more DraftKings points. So I think Daniel Gafford certainly continues to be a fantastic value play. With that being Spencer Dinwiddie, Kyle Kuzma, and Bradley Beal are really going to run the show. We saw Kyle Kuzma go out there and put up 44 DraftKings points last time. He has gotten a major price bump up to 7.9 instead of 6.8. So similar to the Sadiq Bey and Hamidou Diallo we just talked about, though. His usage should be up. I don't think it's quite as valid to be targeting him, though, because his team's not quite as shorthanded, and Bradley Beal is back. Bradley Beal will dominate the usage for the most part. So Kyle Kuzma, Bradley Beal, both fantastic plays. I think they're a little bit negatively correlated, but they both could get there. Daniel Gafford, regardless, I'm going to have interest in him. And then you're taking a look to these other Washington guys, and Denny Avicii. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope continues to play a lot of minutes as well. Doesn't exactly produce at the highest fantasy point per minute rate is the only problem with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, so he's a little bit risky. And we did see some guys at the bench, and Anthony Gill, Elijah Johnson get some minutes, priced way down on this side, that I was kind of eyeing on that slate, to be honest with you. It just felt a little bit too cute to be getting there. I didn't go with them, but we did see Anthony Gill play around 10 minutes or so, put up 13 DraftKings points. Once again, I don't really think that you can get to these guys. Elijah Johnson, same thing. I mean, he played around 10 minutes. They produced at a very high rate is the thing. So they both got in there and put up like 1 DK point per minute, so they were looking good. The problem is they weren't getting the minutes. And we have some other guys in this Detroit game that we talked about, like a Cassius Stanley, that's probably going to get the start tonight and is also priced in that price range. So for that reason, why would we want to go to these guys when Stanley's going to get a bunch of minutes and he's priced at 3K as well? So, I mean, it just makes sense to probably go there. He played 27 minutes last time out. I think he's going to play around the same. He's minimum salary. So for that reason, I don't think it's too cute. I don't think it's too reasonable to get cute with these other value pieces. On the Chicago side, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Vucevic, they're going to continue to really dominate the usage as long as there is no Lonzo Ball. Of these three, I have to say that my favorite right now at his price tag is going to be Nikola Vucevic. He's just been performing at a very high rate, continually putting up 48, 65, 51, 42 DraftKings points. He is the cheapest of the bunch, followed by DeMar DeRozan and followed by Zach LaVine. And once again, that is upside at their price tags. I just think that Zach LaVine has about the same upside as DeMar DeRozan, and why would I pay the extra, 500 when I can just go down to DeMar DeRozan? Not that Zach LaVine is a bad play whatsoever. I just would take the savings, especially in a game environment that only has a 218 over-under. Not the fastest paced game in the world. So that would be my approach. LA Clippers taking on the Brooklyn Nets. There is no Paul George. There is no Kawhi Leonard. There is no Kyrie Irving. Reggie Jackson returned. For the Clippers, Ivica Zubac was out last game. Nicholas Batum was out last game. A bunch of people rushed to play Serge Ibaka, who's only at a 3-2 price tag. I do think that he's going to be viable once again here, but he didn't get the minutes that I think a lot of people were expecting him to, and I didn't really expect him to be honest. He kind of played about what I was anticipating, around 18 minutes. I would have thought he would have gotten up into the 20s, lower 20s though, so I'll admit that. But still, at 3-2, 3-3, he's going to be viable. He put up 22 DraftKings points last time. I just don't think it's as much of a smash play as what some people were thinking on that slate last night. He still did get you there at his price tag, so don't get me wrong. If you played him, you wouldn't be mad, but I just would try to tread lightly a little bit on the Serge Ibaka minutes because he did get the start at center. He's probably going to start at center again tonight. That was the front end of a back-to-back, so maybe they were playing it safe with him so that they could play him some consistent minutes on the other end of the back-to-back, but we did see quite a bit of minutes out of a Justice Winslow as well, 18 minutes, 3,400. He could be maybe a viable guy that you're looking to on this slate tonight. Amir Coffey getting a little bit of minutes as well. He's played 28 and 28 minutes the last 2 times out. Playing, quite a bit. If you want to go to him, I certainly think that he's a viable tournament option at 3-2. And then the obvious candidates in Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris. They're going to continue to get a lot of usage with all these other guys being out on the LA Clippers side. Eric Bledsoe, Terrence Mann. I do think that Eric Bledsoe takes a big hit with Reggie Jackson being back. We saw it that last game out. Didn't really play a lot of minutes. So Terrence Mann, Luke Kennard, and Marcus Morris would be my 3 that I would really be focusing in on here from the LA Clippers side that I'd be willing to get some exposure to. On the Brooklyn side, with James Harden, Kevin Durant being back, all the usage is going to flow through these guys. We saw Kevin Durant not exactly have the best game in his first game back, which, I guess could be expected. But he did play 38 minutes. He was not limited. I didn't expect him to be limited. He wasn't. Same for James Harden. Played 38 to 40 minutes. I think these guys continue to play a ton of minutes. I think they're both going to be viable plays. Depending upon your roster construction, 2 different positions, small forward, point guard. They both grade out as pretty similar plays for me pretty consistently in my projections. So I've kind of been approaching it as, whoever I'm able to fit in with the last spot on my salary and positional wise. But keep in mind, this game does come in with a 12-point spread in favor of the Brooklyn Nets. So they're expected to win this game very easily. It's kind of expected to be a blowout. For that reason, I might limit my exposure a little bit to Kevin Durant and James Harden. Limit myself to probably only one of them because one of them could go off with the blowout on the line here. But other than that, you could be taking a look at some of these cheaper Brooklyn guys that might get some run in a blowout, like a Kessler Edwards, like a Bruce Brown, like a Duke Jr., like a Cam Thomas. I do think that these guys could become pretty intriguing plays in the blowout. So that would kind of be my approach here. In this game, Denver taking on Houston, going to be the next game on the slate. As far as a total in this game right now comes in with a, let's select everyone back on my sheet, 224 over under with a 7-point spread in favor of the Denver Nuggets. So expected to stay somewhat close, but I would say that I'm a little bit scared of Denver blowing these guys out. Houston not exactly the best team. They do have Kevin Porter Jr. back, Christian Wood back. They are starting to look a little bit more healthy, so for that reason, you can have a little bit more confidence in them keeping this game close. But still a little bit scared for me. They get Jayshawn Tate back as well. So these are all relevant things. They are definitely a more complete team than they have been as of late. Sagan left the game last night, and he's not expected to play today. So Daniel Tice and Usman Garuba could see additional run. I do think that Daniel Tice getting a little bit of a bump up is pretty relevant here at a 3-4 price tag. Played 22 minutes last time out. You take Sagan out of the rotation, he could play in the mid to upper 20s, and does produce at a pretty high rate. So Daniel Tice might be a little bit of a sneakier play on this slate tonight. Garuba does produce at a pretty high rate. I'm just a little bit concerned about the minutes. He is only 3K, but I just don't really know if he's going to get enough minutes to really justify playing him at 3K. Like I said, we do have some other pretty relevant value plays at that 3K price range on this slate tonight. And running it back on the Denver side, pretty obvious as to where we're going here. Aaron Gordon is listed as questionable in this one, so that's certainly worth noting. He last played on December 22nd. He's been battling with a hamstring injury here for quite some time. If he does return, that's obviously going to be a big cut in the rotation. If he doesn't, JaMychal Green, Devon Reed continue to see a little bit more minutes, especially with there being no Jeff Green. He was ruled out. So JaMychal Green at 3-2 could become a pretty intriguing value play. You could also be looking to Devon Reed at 3-1. Their bench is not exactly looking like it has the most depth right now with some of these injuries that were announced. Campazzo is also expected to get a start here, though, which is definitely worth noting. Monty Morris officially listed as out. So that is a big deal. I mean, Campazzo, Devon Reed, Rajon Tucker, I do think that these guys are going to be pretty relevant tournament plays, especially Campazzo, obviously. I mean, he becomes the most obvious one at a 4-2 price tag, pulling up the Denver Nuggets rotation here as far as how much these guys have produced on a permanent basis on the season. We can see that Campazzo has put up 0.81 DK points per minute. That's really solid, especially if there's no Aaron Gordon. And if there's no Aaron Gordon, there continues to be no Bones Highland. Austin Rivers, I don't believe is in. He could be listed as questionable in this one. That's actually kind of a relevant piece of news. Yeah, he is listed as questionable. If he's ruled out, Kansar and Devon Reed could see even more minutes, so that's definitely worth monitoring. Both these guys, pretty good fantasy point producers. Kansar putting up 0.79 DK points per minute. JaMychal Green putting up 0.92, Devon Reed putting up 0.84. So, I mean, the more minutes that these guys get, it is very relevant, and we know that Zeke Naji is out as well with health protocols. So, yeah, these are some relevant pieces of value that you should definitely be keeping your eyes on, and be interesting to see if people are really up to date on the latest. And then Will Barton, Nikola Jokic, obviously rounding things out with them, but they're going to be number 1, number 2 in usage. There's no Monty Morris, big bump up for Will Barton. There's none of these guys. Nikola Jokic is going to be an absolute fantasy point per minute beast. You know, best pay up option on the slate, hands down, and priced up, but for good reason. So that's kind of how I break down that one. Golden State Warriors taking on Utah is going to be the last game on the slate. As far as the total in this game comes in with a 222 over-under with a 4.5 point spread in favor of Utah, so expected to stay close. That is very big, when especially factoring these two teams have been involved in a lot of blowouts. Mike Conley is listed as questionable. He was rested on Friday. I expect that he's back in this game. No problems there. Shouldn't be an issue. Joe Ingles was ruled out with an injury last time out, so if he's out again, could be more usage to go around for a Mike Conley, a Jordan Clarkson, Bogdanovich. So that's certainly worth noting. And then lastly, Rudy Gay, obviously, at a 3.6 price tag. Saw his minutes climb up to 26 last time, so he could get a decent amount of run again once again if there is no Joe Ingles. He'd become a pretty intriguing play. Once again, we do have a bunch of options in that 3K price range, though, with the Denver value and the Detroit value, which we talked about on the slate today. But still could be a viable play. And when you're looking at this lineup up and down, as far as the Golden State Warriors side, they are getting fully healthy. Jordan Poole's back. Andrew Wiggins is back. The only thing that's not back is Draymond Green. So these guys, don't get me wrong, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins could get a little bit more usage, but Draymond's not exactly the biggest usage guy in the first place. If anything, I just think that's going to give those minutes to Kevon Looney at the center position at 3.8. He's been playing in the mid to upper 20s. I don't think that that's really worth going to. He's been consistent, but the upside really hasn't been there, so that's a no for me. And the pay-up options in this game, Stephen Curry, Donovan Mitchell, both have a lot of usage on the season. Both could really have explosion games in games that are expected to stay close. So if you want to go there, wouldn't call you crazy whatsoever. The only problem is, of course, I do think we should be prioritizing Nikola Jokic on the slate with all the Denver guys being out. So if you pay up for those guys, you might want to be making sure that you can get some Nikola Jokic in your lineups. That's just my thought process. The same for Rudy Gobert. With these guys being back, Rudy Gobert, decent play, good rebounder, could definitely get you there. But I just think that the opportunity cost, there's some other values. We could get up to Nikola Jokic, and Nikola Jokic, I think, is my favorite pay-up option on this slate tonight. So, quick look over to FanDuel. A lot of it's typically the same, but just making sure that we're not missing any pricing discrepancies. Looking at my projections here on the side as a first look here over on FanDuel. The first thing that popped up to me is Saddiq Bey's price tag. Saddiq Bey is only 6'7" over here. Hamidou Diallo 6'8", so they're both priced pretty reasonable as compared to their DraftKings prices. Both these guys definitely going to stand out as fantastic plays to me over here. Kyle Kuzma as well, only at 6'5". Once again, the guy that should get a bump up in usage, priced way cheaper over here on FanDuel. So there's some pricing discrepancies right off the bat that I'd certainly be taking a look to. Also, Bradley Beal, only 8'7" over here on FanDuel as compared to being priced up in the 10K range on DraftKings. That is a very big difference. A guy that's grading out as a phenomenal play for me over here on FanDuel specifically. Certainly, we do have interest in him. We talked about Daniel Gafford on DraftKings. On FanDuel, he's a phenomenal play. Daniel Gafford, usually good for quite a few blocks. You get 3 points per block over here on FanDuel, so I certainly think that he is worth monitoring. At the 5 block, he got 5 blocks last time out for you on FanDuel. If he would have gotten that for you, you would have been very, very happy because that's just the way FanDuel scoring works. Absolutely love targeting that. Some other guys on FanDuel that are cheaper. DeMar DeRozan at 8.8. Once again, just too cheap over here on FanDuel. It seems like a lot of these pay-up options are just too cheap. They're making it easy on you. I mean, DeMar DeRozan becomes very easy to be putting in your lineup. So I'd certainly have interest in him over here. Those are some guys that stand out to me right off the bat as far as some pricing discrepancies. And then a lot of the other guys we talked about. I'm sure that Campazzo over here on FanDuel isn't priced appropriately. 5.5, okay, that's respectable. He's actually priced a little bit better than he is over on DraftKings on FanDuel, so I'm not getting quite as excited to play him there. At the power forward position, Keldon Johnson going to once again be a respectable play with the bump up for the San Antonio side of things on FanDuel. Certainly think that's worth going to. Amir Coffey at 4.5 if you want to go there. JaMychal Green at 4.2, especially if there's no Austin Rivers. I know that that's not directly correlated with his position, but I just think that opens up more minutes for those secondary Denver guys. That's a quick little rundown on FanDuel. Feeling pretty much the same overall, but there's definitely some big pricing discrepancies. I mean, take advantage of the pricing discrepancies. Those guys are just too cheap, the guys we talked about. And they're just making it easy on you, you know what I mean? So take advantage of those pricing discrepancies. Get a bunch of exposure to those guys that are cheaper over there on FanDuel. And of course, like I said, I love Nikola Jokic as a pay-up option. Same rule applies over here on FanDuel. The only problem is you have Daniel Gafford as well, who's at a much cheaper price tag and is a phenomenal play as well. There is an opportunity cost, though. If Nikola Jokic goes out there and he's the highest scoring player on the slate and you don't have him in your lineups, you probably won't be too happy. So, those are probably my 2 favorite top guys at the center position, though. And with that being said, I'm going to give you guys my lock of the night. Before we do, guys, quick reminder, the sponsor of the channel is Parlay Play. If you haven't checked out Parlay Play, go over there and check out them today. Sign up using the promo code KJK003. Sign up using the link down below in the description. You'll get an instant match deposit up to $50 when you do so. You can head on over here. They have player props, all sorts of fun stuff. You can use some of the stuff that we talked about to make some picks. Pistons Spurs, we talked about Derek White getting a big bump up in usage. Go ahead and select him above his head. Click on points. Change that to parlay points. They've only got his line at 29.5. I think Derek White easily scores over 30 fantasy points tonight. for Sadiq Bey as far as his line. Hamad Diallo also available. Sadiq Bey 28.5. I certainly think that that's respectable. Looking at Diallo's line, he's at 24.5. I love that line. So I think that for the parlay play bankroll challenge, we might go ahead and lock that in. I'll confirm that on the live stream tonight. Make sure that nothing else has changed, but I think this is the pick, guys. I mean, I didn't create the graphic for today's video, so unfortunately I apologize. But right now, our bankroll, we are 4-6 on our record. I believe we are now, we're now 5-6, so I'm going to update that, and our bankroll sits at $33.27. So just to give you a latest update, we started with the free $10 they give you, risk-free $10. They also give you that instant match deposit up to $50. Check them out. And with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and give you my lock of the night. Let's get into it. And my lock of the night tonight is going to be Hamidou Diallo, taking on this San Antonio Spurs squad in this up-tempo game, tied for the highest total on the slate with a 224 over-under, and a bunch of injuries going on for the Detroit side. They were already dealing without no Jeremiah Grant, now no Cade Cunningham. More to add to that list as well. Kelly Olynyk, Corey Joseph, Frank Jackson, the guy that was in last game now as well, Trey Lyles, Isaiah Stewart, Saban Lee, Killian Hayes, all the guard usage gone now. I think the ball's going to be in Hamidou Diallo's hands a lot. We saw him absolutely go off last time out. 31 real-life points, 13 rebounds, 63 DraftKings points. And the fact of the matter is, he was getting there in multiple categories. He gets steals, he gets assists, he gets rebounds, he gets points, all of the above. The usage should be crazy here. Priced at 7.7 on DraftKings, only 6.8 on FanDuel. Love him on both websites and producing at a very high rate. 0.94 FanDuel points per minute on the season as far as DraftKings, 0.92. Get him in your lineups because he is my lock of the night. So there you have it, guys. Hamidou Diallo, get him in your lineups, and that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please take a second to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. That would be greatly appreciated. Go ahead and check out the premium content link below in the description if you are interested. Go ahead and check out Parlay Play. Link below in the description. You get that free $50. You get the $10 risk-free entries. Wish you all the best of luck tonight, guys. I will see you in the live stream at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, hopefully. And until then, good luck, Happy New Year, and we will see you in the next one.